lift up this screen for a moment so we're not using it? We can see what's behind it. There's a logo, for those who can't see it, there's a logo on Dave's podium, and the logo is right behind us, and it's a cutout logo that we see everywhere in Peachtree City. My personal preference would be something along these lines instead of the black squares that are kind of tacked on. Your thoughts?
I like that. I like that.
Would you want them reflective?
Yeah, I like the fact that it's lit, so how
Yeah.
would they light that?
I don't know.
Would it just have lights behind it? Could you do that easy enough?
Yeah, they're called halo lights.
Maybe Keith can fill us in, but if there is any possibility of considering that, I think it would be more attractive and could even be used on like the Partners Pizza Bridge where we have one of these black. It's just a personal preference that I thought I'd put out there.
I think it'd be more consistent with what we have now as our logo for the city.
So that would.
Microphone for me, please. Sorry. Thanks, Mr. Strickland.
I think it would be more challenging to, I'm assuming that you're talking about backlighting that or having something either above or below that. Obviously, the having it just lit from either the bottom or the top, that's no problem to do that. And so, yes, I'm pretty sure that we could, implement that type of a design.
From on the outside, so I guess
Yeah.
during the day, that one would look better, but at night, that one would look
Yeah,
better.
that's true. That's true.
I mean, I like the way those look, the 3D effect.
All right. If you want to go with those, I'll capitulate. You don't care.
I don't care.
The,
I'm going to
Madam-
look down this way.
Madam Mayor, I've got a couple of comments, if I may.
Of course.
I don't particularly agree with that signage. No, this one's very nice. I do like that better than I like that better than the black one. But one of the things I did is I drove around the city and looked at the stanchions and the things like this that were on all of those vertical parts of the bridge. And quite honestly, it didn't jump out to me that this was Peachtree City. I took my wife with me. She didn't see it either. As opposed to looking at one of the designs that you had proposed from last meeting, which was the word Peachtree City, vertical, on there, lit up, backlit. I would guess because of the size of these stanchions, that certainly if it's filled up with the words Peachtree City in big letters, backlit at night, you're certainly going to make sure you know where you are, as opposed to the small sign. This may be better, as the mayor has said, but I certainly think that having a little bit of background in marketing, I want them to know they're in Peachtree City. I don't want them to just say, oh, by the way, did you see that sign? Well, you're going to see a sign that says Peachtree City, top to bottom. Bang. You know where you're going to be. Just my thoughts on that, Mayor?
Thank you. Anything else?
Your thoughts, Frank?
Well, I said before that I think that's a better logo. I think it'll be difficult to focus the light on it from the top or the bottom.
Yeah.
I like the backlit
Yeah.
area we have. I think that's a little small, but it's, functional as best it can be. Is there any way of making that bigger, kind of go to the edge of the column and maybe a little taller?
yes, sir, we can make it larger.
I think if we made it larger,
Okay.
would be better, but I do like that. I think that would be better. I think that would be harder to have it lit from the top or the bottom.
I think so.
So I think I would really favor that more.
Phil?
Same thing.
Yeah.
I echo what Frank said. I think if that were bigger, I understand what you're saying, Clint. Yeah, if we had it, we have that coming in on the west side. I mean, I
Yep.
like that.
Yes, I do too.
But our logo is something that we need to get them where they recognize it too. Same thing for marketing. So,
Right.
like you said, the logo. So as we keep moving forward, sharing that logo, that'll help our brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Can I? Go
I
ahead.
also think that we need to recognize that this geotech survey that we need to have could very easily come up with the fact that we have unsuitable soils, and that we need to put a cost in there for that. I'm actually surprised that we didn't expect that. I mean, those columns have to weigh something, and the foundation is gonna have to be sturdy enough to hold that up. So, yes, the $30,000 or so that we're asking for to do the study could very easily come up with a need to have a foundation bigger, or at least substantially supportive for the column and the weight that it has. So I think you're gonna come back and tell us that there's gonna be more costs to put in a stronger foundation. At least every
may.
project
It
I've
may.
ever had
Yeah.
has had unsuitable soils associated with it.
It may. So, back to the design, I think, are you clear? Mr. Strickland, Dave, did you hear? We like everything. I think we did well last time, but we'll mess with that logo just a little bit, make it larger, and take it from there.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, one more comment. Is there a chance to maybe do some neon type behind the lettering? Just a thought, I'm not pushing it forward, but give it some kind of backlit behind it so that it really would stand out.
I think Robin almost had a heart attack over there with,
Okay, well, I'm
With
just,
that,
I'm just throwing out some ideas. I'm not saying that that's what we're gonna go with, but
I
I'm just.
think it's backlit now, isn't it?
Yeah, you talking about different colors?
No,
or-
no, just white.
Yeah, I think
white
that's
light.
what they have in mind, is
Oh,
that's gonna
that
be
is going to
backlit.
have like a neon light behind it?
Yes.
Well, like
yes.
LED.
Oh, but if
So,
you go
yeah.
with this design,
No,
Well, no, we're not
we
going
we're
that.
not going with
okay, you're
that.
just gonna go with a bigger one on this,
That's what
right?
we said, yeah,
Yep.
we could
Okay.
he said we could backlight it, he could backlight it easier with this design.
Yes,
than
then
that.
that design. I like that design though up
So
there.
that's what
It's
we
a
said. That
nicer
one looked
design.
better in the day, but this one at night.
I-
I agree with you, but I think this is good, and we've come to consensus, and this is the one that looks better at night lit.
Agreed.
Let's do it. All
All
right.
right, do you have everything you need?
Yes, I think we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
thank you.
All right, second item. Discussion regarding proposed de-annexation of property from Tyrone by General Assembly.
Thank you, Mayor. Robin's going to give us a quick presentation on this topic as well. So.
Dave, I've never heard anybody ask to be shorter. I'm going to tee this up, and then Ted is actually going to take this across the finish line for us. There we go. So, Peachtree City has been approached. There we go. What you see here outlined in yellow is an about 11-acre piece of property that is completely landlocked. The only access point it has, so I'll give you some general, where we are is we're in the northwest part of the city. And here we have Highway 74, and then here's McDuff coming in, and that's where it crosses the railroad. This railroad is actually a double line right here, and it continues all the way up. There's a spur going into Tyrone. The property is technically in the city limits of Tyrone, and they approached Tyrone to de-annex, and it was, so they are officially in Tyrone. They pay property taxes in Tyrone. They are only accessible to a Peachtree City Road, McDuff. They actually have an easement across the property just to the south to them. And therefore, as a result of that, all of emergency services are provided by Peachtree City, as according to our service delivery strategy. They approached us, they approached Tyrone to de-annex so that they could potentially annex into Peachtree City, and Tyrone's town attorney gave the opinion that he did not believe that it could be de-annexed because by doing so would create an illegal unincorporated island. And therefore he reached out and has spoken with the city attorney, and they agree that the best way forward is what is proposed by the property owner is annexation by General Assembly. This is an unusual process. It's where the state legislation legislature has the power and authority to decide where city boundaries are. We are all creatures of the state. And so they are given that power. Our state representatives, however, they are Josh Bonner and Marty Harbin, they did say that they would prefer to do this with some level of, or indication of support from both Tyrone and Peachtree City. So Ted is going to go through what that process looks like, but I did want to highlight here that in this annexation process, there is no zoning that the state does for the cities. So if they were to annex or be annexed into Peachtree City, it would automatically, per our ordinance, come in as zoned agriculture. And if they wanted to do anything different with that, they would have to go through the rezoning process, which includes that public hearing process. And so I believe Ted can finish this up and answer any process questions.
Certainly, yeah. There will be concurrent resolutions, one by Tyrone to de-annex the property, one by Peachtree City to ask to annex the property. That will include the proposed legislation to go to our local delegation and then hopefully to the General Assembly for final approval. Tonight is not a vote on that. It's more of getting your temperature. Obviously, my goal, Dennis Davenport's the attorney for the town of Tyrone, is to not have one city say yes and the other cities say no. Understanding there's no ironclad way to do that tonight, but I would just like an indication, because obviously Tyrone, if the Peachtree City says they're not interested, then this matter will be closed. If Peachtree City is willing to consider doing this, then we would anticipate having these on agendas, because Tyrone meets on the same evenings as Peachtree City, and we'd probably be looking at the first meeting in February for your consideration of that.
Okay,
Comments?
Council?
Yeah, I can't tell you how disappointed I am with this. I've been following this for a long time. You may or not recall that you can put that map back up. Robin, can you put that map back up? Please. When it first came in, it was down lower. It was the first parcel that was brought in, and we were told that was all they wanted to do. I did some research on Q Public and found out that the woman that owns that, I can't remember her name. You may remember, Robin, but it was
Well, it's listed as Nana's
Nana's.
Holdings LLC.
Yeah. I tried to contact her. I managed to get a hold of somebody within the organization, and they told me they had absolutely no reason that they wanted to expand any farther. I did talk to Brent Scarborough, or at least one of his representatives, and he was honest. He said that they really wanted to go farther and take the whole 23 acres or whatever it was at the time. It wasn't just a tip. When we looked at it first, which you can't see, but it was the first parcel down there.
Was it right there?
Yes. And it was, that's all he wanted, but he also said they would like to try to go after the whole parcel. So obviously, Nana's whatever was lying to me, and she was obviously wanting to sell the whole property. So that's one thing that bothers me, but, you know, be it as may. I am concerned that we are providing the services to that property, and we're not getting any taxes for it. That's not fair. So I do think that we ought to be looking at how we can get the taxes for that. And if that means bringing it into Peachtree City, I think that's a good thing for the city. We ought to get the taxes. What bothers me, though, is it going to be agriculture. He's not going to keep it that way. You know, he's always threatened to make it a dump, or at least the first parcel was going to be threatened it was going to be a dump, or was going to be some sort of industrial building. That's not going to happen. He's going to build what he did before. He's going to expand on the townhomes that he built on the other parcel. And I think that would be better than not having a dump or whatever he would have to do. So he's going to have to come in for rezoning. And I think it would be better to have those townhomes, or at least what Crestwinds has, because that's what he's did alongside Crestwinds now, and get the taxes out of it. So it's not the best situation for us, but I do think that getting the taxes and making it residential, which you'll probably want to do, is better for us in the long run. Not my best choice, not my favorite choice, but I think it's better for the city.
Thank you. So you support annexing this in?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Holland?
Yeah, do we know what zoning they're gonna be looking for on that?
We're not here to predict. We're
Okay,
here to decide whether we want to annex this into Peachtree City.
okay. Given that we're here just strictly on annexation, and I know that zoning is going to be something down the road, I understand that, I'm for it.
Mr. Prebor?
Yeah, I mean, to echo what Frank said, we know what they're probably gonna wanna come at us for, so, I mean, but we're not here to discuss that, I get it. But, okay, what are all of our options in a nutshell? Do nothing?
Annex, don't annex.
Yeah, that's
Annex,
it.
so if we annex it, then they're gonna come to us for rezoning. If we don't annex it, they could still sell that piece of property and
They would just have to get it zoned under whatever,
whatever they,
in Tyrone, that's Tyrone's decision,
right.
what they zone it.
And we now have to provide services to that. Is that correct? So
We do, under mutual aid agreement, mm-hmm.
So basically, we're providing all the services, getting none
Well-
of the tax revenue.
We're providing all the services because the only access
Is the
for
road.
Right.
that is
Is
from
right
the
there.
south.
Yeah,
I mean, CSX, you can't go and put a road in there right
Right.
away, let's face it. So,
so yeah, so the
So-
options, annex, don't annex.
That's
If we
it.
annex it, we can control it. If we don't annex, we cannot control it.
and I have
So I'd
concerns
say we'd have
about,
to annex it.
That's a blinding glimpse of the obvious, Phil.
Thank you, Frank. That's what I'm here for.
So are you annex or no?
Yes.
Annex, yeah.
annex it.
Yeah, myself as included, so.
I would like to hear your comments, Mike.
My comment's simple, if you don't annex it, and we get into this little fight between Tyrone, us, and the legislature, that property owner has a right to access his property.
I agree.
And I do not want, with those townhomes, they'll have this traffic going through there for an industrial site of some sort that Tyrone controls because it's their property, it's in their city limits. But if we are gonna control it, this body can decide what goes there, or at least the zoning. And if you don't have control of it, you've got no say in it.
It's not a perfect situation.
No, it's not.
Well, very few are gonna be perfect, especially in a fringe like this, and dealing with CSX Railroad over the McDuff Parkway, I don't even wanna go there.
All
Fair
right.
enough.
That's 5 of us, correct?
We've heard direction, this will probably be on the agenda the first meeting in February.
Thank you.
I,
Council, anything else?
No, ma'am.
No, have a good evening.
Executive
Adjourn.
session.
Meeting is adjourned.
Not tonight, tomorrow night.